welcome to a podcast named Tim. This is our Ranger review series, and today we're going to be talking about the series debut of Power Rangers Dino Fury, which happened this past weekend. And I'm sure there's probably been a bunch of videos, people discussing it. The Power Ranger world is a buzz because, there's new Rangers to talk about, and that's always exciting. Before we get into the review, please do give the video a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. It does a lot to help us out. So typically, if you've never seen these, we do reviews of the episodes and then Monster of the Week ratings on our system that we have, and obviously no Monster of the Week for the series debut. So it'll just be the review of the episode and talking about general things I liked, didn't like, and what I'd like to see from the episode. This one's going to be a little maybe longer just because we're speculating at this point with the debut. But we'll go ahead and get right into it. Give you my general thoughts before I go kind of about what happened. I thought it was okay. I was not completely sold on the concept yet, on the characters, and I thought it was a little slow. I thought there were some weird audio issues that came up in the beginning of the episode, and I just finished watching my second viewing of it, and picked up a lot that second time. Enjoyed it a little bit more, and picked up some other things that I had missed, as far as little one-liners and some dialogue and some character building with that. But overall, not my favorite one, but it's the first episode. For me, I always kind of go in, you gotta wait till you build, and most of these series, until you get past, the series debut and you get into the more episodic episodes where, your filler episodes in some respect, that's where you're gonna find out what the show's really about. And I'll get into some of the other issues I have as we go through the review, or some issues I could see potentially happening, and some things that excite me as well. Not all negative. There are good things as well, but excited to talk about more Power Rangers. That's always good. So we start off the episode with Amelia Jones. She is got like this paranormal Sasquatch, and, aliens and ghosts. That's what her hobby is, and she works at, I think it's called Buzz Blast, which is basically kind of like a BuzzFeed social media website, and she's trying to get her boss to approve her to go out to Dinohenge in order to do a story about it out there. She lies about having the permission to do so, but she's allowed to go. And when she's on her way out, she's got like this, I don't know how to describe it, GPS ghost tracker with a camera, with a GoPro on top of it, and it's also like an electric net. She thinks she sees a ghost, hits the button. Of course, it is not. It is the Blue Ranger, who will end up being the Blue Ranger, Ollie. And he is very sarcastic, which I always appreciate. I think his one of his opening lines was, she's like, "What are you doing out here?" He's like, "Oh, I heard it was good for zapping, and so I give it 5 stars." So I appreciate that type of humor. Um, then we find out his mom and he have recently moved to, I think they said Ridgecrest or Rivercrest or something of that nature. Again, some audio issues where I couldn't pick up on some things. It seemed like the audio for people talking was kind of turned down and overpowered by a lot of the other sound. But they just moved to town. His mom's an archaeologist, and they're checking out Dinohenge. And they do like a scan with a drone. The dinosaurs are in like this actual like Stonehenge. There's like statues of them kind of all in a circle facing each other. They kind of activate, and then there's like an earthquake. Something's turning on or becoming activated, and then we get Ranger, I think he said Garcia, who I'm assuming may be connected to the other Rangers that are coming in coming weeks, but he says you're not allowed to be here to both of them. They got to go do some paperwork. As the mom goes off, the two future Rangers are there to clean up, and Void Knight, who is, I guess, supposed to be the big bad for the series, shows up. He is looking for an energy source, and he like blows open the ground, goes in. They follow him, and they're in like what I assume, because of what we heard from later on the episode, is I'm assuming a downed spaceship of some sort. It's definitely high tech technology. It's our command center for this season. When in there again, he's looking for a energy source, and we find Solana, I believe that's what her name was, who we find out later is a Solanosaurus, and she is a cyborg dinosaur, half and half. She's trying to activate out of a stasis pod the Red Ranger, and that is not going very well. The hengemen, I believe they called them, like henchmen, ha ha ha. They are kind of around a semicircle around the area. They kind of have they look like chess pieces. Like if you were to watch like a fantasy movie, they had like human-sized chess pieces. They look like what the pawns would look like. That's the best way I can describe them. But Solana throws like a capsule over to the Rangers so that they can hopefully turn on the hengemen and activate them to fight the bad guy. He grabs it, puts it in his own sword, and activates them, so they are now fighting for him. We do find out they do have some kind of actual background training, and they fight off the hengemen. I will say this is one of my big pet peeves with the episode is that I thought that Void Knight was, for a big bad, he was too easily defeated by first episode level Rangers who have not been trained yet, were unmorphed at times, and so I would have liked to see him. I don't know. I just didn't appreciate them taking him down that easily in this episode. Zato, who is the Red Ranger, is awoken, and he starts to fight the Void Knight, who we find out is after Sporix, I believe that's how they're pronounced. They're like these flubber-looking things that are just moving around, oozing around, and they're the energy source that he has found. They end up getting away. The Red Ranger he turns his sword into a dagger, throws it. It gets hit back to him, and when he moves, it opens up the container that they're in, and they all fly away. And Void Knight disappears with them. And we find out at this point we get like a big exposition dump as far as like just the backstory of everything. Turns out Zato is an alien from, I believe it's called Rafcon or Raftcon, something of that nature. He says that the Sporix visited his planet 65, 66 million years ago, and they basically are eggs that they grow to be the monsters of the week. And they all came to his planet. There was a huge fight. They destroyed his planet. He was leading the Knights of Rafcon, and they were unsuccessful. They came to Earth to follow the Sporix, and they end up having a fight with them. They team up with the dinosaurs, and eventually they are defeated again because the Sporix grow big, and they can't defeat them. Well, it turns out at that point the Morphing Masters, who I did some research. I didn't know they were in the comics. I don't read the comics. I just watched the shows, and turns out they were in the comics. But I do remember them from the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. We did a review on the episode they were in, called Big Sisters, I believe. And they are the ones that made that. It was the episode with the big, giant power eggs. And so they're these ancient beings that have these godlike powers. And they show up to bestow upon these Knights of Rafkin, or Raftcon, whatever it is, the Power Ranger powers. And so they, power them up, and with the power of their new Zords and everything else, they're able to. They couldn't defeat them. They said that all the other Rangers were lost, and that but obviously they were able to contain the Sporix, and that was their only solution. Basically, Zato said, my job was to stay here, guard these to make sure no one ever got them, and that now that they're out in your world, they're going to be hatching periodically, and we need to get you trained in order to be ready for this new threat that's coming your way. So back to Void Knight before to cap this off. when Zato sees Void Knight, he specifically says, "Where did you steal that armor from?" And Void Knight says, "It doesn't matter. Basically, it's none of your business, etc." And what's interesting about that is clearly Void Knight was, I'm assuming, a ranger because of that comment, and also because of its ability to use the capsule earlier, that it easily integrated into their uh, weapon the same way it would for rangers. So I thought that was really interesting. The Morphing Masters was kind of a crazy, just a fever dream thing. It kind of felt like the Lantern Corps. Kind of the idea. I don't know what they're called exactly, but they're kind of these. I think they're called like the onlookers or something like that. That might be something else. But if you ever watched or read a little bit of Green Lantern, there's these beings who kind of pick different Lantern Corps to control different sectors of the galaxy, and it kind of felt like they were these alien beings that are now choosing different versions of Power Rangers to uh, protect that area. They looked kind of weird, but I don't know. It was interesting, yeah, very interesting. But the idea of Void Knight being connected to or having stolen some kind of Power Ranger armor or abilities is interesting. But again, I thought that I don't really care for the design of Void Knight, especially for a big bad. It seems like more of a lieutenant look, and and I thought that he was defeated too easily in the first episode. He does escape with one Sporix, and who does form into a monster. So maybe that'll be one of his lieutenants, excuse me, or will be the big bad in the next episode. Overall, again, not my favorite opening episode, but we'll see what happens. I mean, look, we got plenty of more Power Rangers ahead of us, um, and I'll be curious to see where we're going from here. I'm trying to think if there's any other big things I missed that I want to talk about. I think that's pretty much it. Oh, I guess suits. I do like the suits. I like they're very intricate. Like the color schemes with the silver and the white and the jagged look to them. That kind of look like the swords. So I do like the suits, which is always a big part of Power Rangers. Obviously, not a big fan of the theme. I think I mentioned that in our preview that we did. But I'm willing to give it a chance. It's Power Rangers as always. It always takes for me. It always takes a few episodes to get into the new version and kind of see what rules we're playing by and really understand what this season's going to be about. But let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Did you like it? Did you not like it? And are you excited for Dino Fury as we move forward? Um, uh, that's pretty much all I have here, and we'll see you next time on a podcast named Tim. Please do, again, subscribe and thumbs up the video. It does a lot to help it out, and if you subscribe, you'll be able to continue this journey with us as we talk about Power Rangers Dino Fury each week. See you next time on a podcast named Tim.